Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Initiate discussion series with young Indonesian professional from energy sector. In this fourth episode, we're going to have a discussion with Rivano William Toontje. He just finished his master degree from University of Twente in Environment and Energy Management program. He conduct this interesting research to see about from energy management perspective about Indonesia, who have a huge ambition to shift its capital city from Jakarta to East Kalimantan or East Borneo. And this shifting of capital city will not only improve the population of the local East Borneo, but also change from the environment, sustainability, and also the energy consumption. And this research from Rivano is hugely relevant because about a year ago, Indonesian President Joko Widodo just announced that we are going to move our capital city into East Borneo. And although there are COVID-19 who will definitely change the landscape of the shifting of the capital city, but we'll also have a discussion with Rivano about his view about whether COVID-19 will hugely impact and how much should we change our priority to obtain the sustainable ecosystem for the new capital city. Now we have Rivano William Toontje with me. Hi Rivano, good morning, I think in the Dutch at the moment.
Yeah, good afternoon, Adli in Jakarta.
So I believe the congratulations are in order. Congratulations for your thesis. It's very exciting, and that is the reason why we have our session today. But first, maybe can you tell us a little bit about what is your research at the moment, and also a little bit about your background education, maybe from the undergraduate, and then what you're doing afterward that brings you to this research.
Okay, so basically, I am a recent graduate of the University of Twente in the Netherlands for the master program of environmental and energy management. My background before related mostly in chemical engineering things. I had already experience working in a petrochemical company in Indonesia, but currently I'm having more interest working in energy management field. Especially related to sustainability and climate change adaptation.
What changes between the process? I mean, you have chemical engineering, it's also exciting things to working on, but and then you, in a way, you got interested to energy sector. What really changes along the way?
Well, basically, it doesn't really change because you can see the alignment between the chemical engineering side to the energy management, but I just want to broaden my knowledge and skills in the management side. And because I think like this sustainability issue is getting more concerned and popular nowadays. So yeah, I just want to find this opportunity to maybe in the future can make a change into a more positive effect to the country.
Yep.
That's the purpose.
It's a very noble purpose anyway. And now we're talking about your research. It's basically about the energy system, energy management on the new proposed capital city of Indonesia in Kalimantan. Although let's talk ideally before COVID. Let's say it's still happening maybe, but for the delay. But what is the key finding? And I think before that, talk to us a little bit about what motivates you to have research on the shifting of the capital.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's say at first, the announcement of this new capital city of Indonesia in East Borneo was quite a shock for us. Even though the relocation plan had been around already since the era of our first president, Sukarno, if you know about this. But once our president Joko Widodo announced the news, and the special team was formed, where many consultants and also public are participated in the initiation of the development plan. We know that these plans would be real in the near future. So for that, a lot of aspects need to be considered. And I believe one of the prominent aspects is resided in the energy sector, how the energy plan is built, how the infrastructure can accommodate the energy demand of the province, and most importantly, how the energy in the new capital can be developed sustainably. So for this reason, I chose my topic in developing the energy model for the new planned capital city of Indonesia, in which, well, what I know, there was still few, or I could say, no academic research conducted on this topic. So I hope this could be a trigger for the government for the development of this new capital city in the future.
And it is very interesting that you have an eye to initiate an academic research for doing some real project like building a new capital city. And what is the key funding? Something that you realize from your research that maybe this is a huge deal if we want to shift our capital city. What is the key funding? Of course, from energy perspective.
Yeah, basically, I try to make a comparison with the current energy target of the province. You know, each province has their own energy plan in compliance with the Paris Agreement target. We should make like this level from the international, from the global situation to the national, and now in the regional aspect, in which we concern more in the East Borneo communication city. So I tried to make this energy model in analyzing the effect, the environmental effect of what would be the situation if there's going to be more population coming to this new city. What's the effect of the developing of the infrastructure in this new capital city towards the energy system in East Borneo? So yeah, basically the key finding I found here that of course with the addition of around 1.5 million population that's already being predicted by the government to come to the new capital city, it would affect directly to the increasing of energy demand for the province. So basically, by increasing this energy demand and also the development, all of this function, the business, industrial, and also the household in the new capital city, of course, it's gonna give a big effect to the environmental, because more energy is consumed and more greenhouse gas emission would emit to the environment. So this is something that's pretty obvious, but I would say that this could be a parameter for the government to take concern more about what should be a plan to reduce this greenhouse gas emission for the energy infrastructure for the new capital.
And you know, now that you mentioned about the impact of adding 1.5 million new habitants in a city or in an area, it will changing the landscape of the energy and also the environment of the surrounding. So I was wondering, you know, we also have similar phenomena, not only because in a capital city, but there's also people from the village. They're moving into bigger cities to find a new job or find new opportunity. Do you think your research also can be implemented to such scenario, or otherwise, do you think there's a similarity between shifting the new capital city into transmigration or urbanization, people moving into a bigger city? Do you think it is somehow connected?
Yeah, I think I can find it's pretty much correlated, but we also have to think about the function, about the units that we want to analyze. It's not merely coming from the adding of population, of course, but it's also a lot of sectors, a lot of aspects that also need to be considered. For example, if you're talking about the urbanization with the people coming from the village to the city, We probably know that the infrastructure of the city has already been built. But if you're talking about the new capital, everything is still from scratch. So yeah, the development of this capital city would be much bigger if in comparison with the Jakarta urbanization.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
But in a nutshell, what is, from energy model perspective, what is the major difference between major cities, whether the one already built or we want to build, and the, let's say, something like a quite rural area, like other than energy consumption? Do you find any major difference? Like, of course, this is something we are expecting from East Borneo, because they start with very low energy consumption, and there will be a huge increasing of the energy.
Yeah, I can say that it's different mainly from the infrastructure and the access. When we are talking about energy in big cities and rural areas, it always refers to the electricity infrastructure, from the generation at the power plant, the transmission, and finally the distribution to the user. And when we're talking about the transmission and distribution, it refers to the electricity grid. So basically, there are three types of electricity grid. The first one is on-grid system. This on-grid system can usually be found in big cities where the transmission is available not far from the user and it is more stable all the time. While in rural areas, usually the electricity system is distributed via close to grid or off-grid system, where the transmission is usually far from user and access to the stable on-grid system is very limited. So this is a challenge for the rural areas because besides they have to face instability and insufficient electricity, they also have to deal with the investment costs, mainly from the connection of the infrastructure from the on-grid to the user, which makes the electricity price usually in rural area is higher than big cities. But I found the silver lining here because people in rural area, of course, they want to have a more stable and cheaper electricity for their daily living, right?
Yep.
So instead of using the on-grid system, which mostly still use fossil fuel as the energy resources, usually people in rural areas become the first user of the alternative solution, in which we're talking about the renewable energy. But still, they cannot be independently getting their source of energy without funding from the government or private sector.
Okay. Now let me go back into the discussion about new capital city. What do you want to see in the new capital city? Do you think sustainability can play a major role into the energy sector? And what is the winning? What is the winning here from sustainable energy perspective?
Yeah, I think at first we have to change our mindset towards this term sustainability. The sustainability for me, I think it should always be put in the utmost consideration of our living, not only for the development of energy, but also in our daily life. Because we're talking about the future, how we can maintain our Earth without giving a more adverse effect to the environment. Well, I don't want to be cliche about this, but we are facing the real situation where our Earth condition is not the same with, you can say, 50 years ago, or even we can say it's different with a few years ago. Where, for example, Jakarta is facing a sea level rise and flooding occurs more frequent than before. So when it comes to the development of the new capital city, aspect of sustainability, of course, should be put as the most important factor. Because I think this is a great moment for Indonesia to enhance the development of a more sustainable energy for the city, as it could be a trigger for the government, PLN, and all of the related stakeholders to not only apply renewable energy to the new capital city, but also to make a bigger transformation in national level. So talking about sustainability, it's not only related to the energy, we also have to concern about the geographic and cultural condition of the province. You know that Kalimantan is one of the biggest biodiversity hotspots in the world. But the fact that more than 30% of its rainforest already degraded within 50 years. So we don't want the development of this new capital city. On the contrary, gives the adverse effect to the province. Instead, it should nurture and confers more of its spacious and also taking care more for the indigenous people here there. Well, there's pretty much different with Jakarta situation where it's already placed in, you could say, the most developed island in Indonesia, Java Island. So, well, yeah, this is also a tough challenge for the government, of course, to concern more about these aspects.
You already discussed also about what do you expect would be different with Jakarta. I mean, Jakarta is our first and our previous and still actually capital city. But other than sustainable perspective, do you think anything we should do differently with new capital city and Jakarta, not only in energy but in a bigger sustainability theme?
Yeah, like I said before, because the situation and condition between Jakarta and Kalimantan is really different from the geographic aspects, the cultural aspect, social aspects, and also because the development in Kalimantan is obviously less developed than the Jakarta. Of course, it would have a different, you could say, treatment or approaching for the development of this new capital city.
And now that COVID-19 is coming, it changed everything, every landscape of energy, of the economy. So do you think what is the biggest challenge? Well, one thing I can think of is the funding. I mean, it will be maybe restructured. Maybe it will be some priority after COVID. But other than that, do you have anything in mind? How will COVID-19 changing the idea of having a new capital?
Well, we can say this situation is extraordinary. It is beyond our expectation, and yeah, this is something that we need to face in the present. I think the government already put on hold this project and focus more on the handling of this COVID issue. So we just hope that this issue can be tackled really soon, and let's see what will be happening in the future. Well, I could say in the end, every decision for our government should be put in its citizen welfare at the utmost. So I just don't want the government to be off guard on this, and in the end disrupt all of the plan within this relocation of the new capital city because of the pandemic. I just want the government also like having their own scenario what will be happen in the next future once this COVID issue could be handled. So yeah, just make decision more smart and wisely. That's my thought.
Okay. Rivano, thank you very much for having the time to share about your research and your insight about new capital city
You're
from
welcome.
energy perspective. Yeah. So we're very happy to know more, and good luck with your future research.
Thank you. Good
Goodbye.
luck for you too, Adli.
Uh-huh.
Bye.